Hello there, and welcome back to Cuckoo for Books. My name is Salva, and today I will be doing a book review on My Lady Jane by a whole bunch of authors that I'm going to have to read off by Cynthia Han, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. I was so wrong about this book. I was very wrong. I put off reading it for the longest time. I prefer historical fiction that stays true to the timeline, and this book was just a little bit too ridiculous for me. I was like, an alternate universe where people turn into animals and Jane Grey was never beheaded. Don't think I want to read that. I was very wrong about this, and it turned out that the ridiculousness of the story was what made me love it so dang much. This might be a contender for favorite book of 2016, guys. If you're like me and brush it off as a silly, stupid plot, just do yourselves a favor and pick it up because it is worth it. So if you haven't already guessed by now, it's an alternative history book where Jane Grey doesn't die and Edward is a very pubescent teenager. It's also an alternate world where instead of the Catholic Protestant argument in England, you have these people called the Ethians and the Verities. The Verities believe that humans should stay human. The Ethians are humans who can change into animals. The Catholics are the Verities and the Ethians are the Protestants in this novel. If it had just been a book about like, oh, this world, humans can turn into animals and we're gonna make it silly like that, but I think making a parallel between, you know, Catholics and Protestants and something that actually is grounded in history made it a lot more interesting and intriguing, and I think I was like, okay, I kind of get it. There is a Shrekish vibe to the story. If you're a fan of Shrek or the TV show Galavant, the humor is very much the same, and I think something makes it even more funny when modern jokes set in a medieval time, and that just makes it, I think, it makes it even more hilarious. Speaking of, another reason why I didn't want to read this book was that people are saying, oh my gosh, it's so hilarious, it's so funny, and I think personally it's so hard to sell a book. Everyone has different senses of humor, but for me, I loved the comedy in this novel. I laughed out loud so many times. There are so many references to Tangled, to Game of Thrones, to Shakespeare, to so many things that there's also a bit of the Shrek vibe when you think about how Gifford turns into a horse during the day and trying to figure out how to live his life like that. Is that a spoiler alert for Shrek? But Shrek's been out for like a billion years. I don't think it's a spoiler. Everyone knows what happens to Princess Fiona. The love story in this novel was so sweet between Gifford and Jane. Just the way that their relationship develops is there was nothing pushy about it. It definitely was not insta-love. It very much felt like two normal teenagers. The way they wanted to express their emotions but couldn't, and the nervousness they felt and the awkwardness they felt finally felt like two teenagers instead of two YA characters who were somehow so much more wise than their years, as most YA books have. It's like, you're 16, you're not supposed to have such complex feelings about love. In My Lady Jane, they were just two awkward teenagers who was like, how do I tell this guy I like him? Do I like him? What? Does he like me back? I don't, what? And it was just adorable. The authors in this novel break the fourth wall quite a lot, and I think it's hilarious. Again, they pulled it off. I'm currently watching Jane the Virgin, and it is a hoot and a half. It very much reminded me of the narrator from Jane the Virgin. I can't wait for more books from these three authors. I think they just released a blog announcement, or maybe it was recent, or maybe not, that they were writing 2 more Jane books, which I am so excited for because I think as I was finishing the book, I was like, no, I can't finish it without knowing if this is a standalone or if there are gonna be more books, because on Goodreads, it's marketed as a standalone. So I went to their blog and then they were like, oh, we've got great news, we're writing 2 more books. And I'm like, yes, okay, now I can finish the book in peace. I think the next one is gonna be called My Plain Jane. It might not have anything to do, I didn't read the announcement very well. I just saw them say, we are writing 2 more Jane books. It could be about Tarzan and Jane for all I know, but I would still read that book. And that about does it for my Lady Jane book review. You can follow me on my other bookish adventures on Twitter and Instagram, both at Cuckoo for Books. Please subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye, guys!